My fiancé cried. I never wanted to marry you. I've always wanted him. Caught in our bed with my half-brother. So I disappeared, rebuilt my life. 2 weeks before my new wedding, her name appeared on my phone. I, 34 male, am a structural engineer. It's a boring job to explain at parties, but it shapes how I see the world. I look at buildings, bridges, and houses, and I don't see the paint or the decor. I see the load-bearing walls. I see the stress points. I see the cracks that people paint over, hoping the foundation holds just one more year. I understand that if you remove the wrong support beam, the entire thing comes crashing down. What I didn't understand, until 5 years ago, was that the people you love are often the ones holding the sledgehammer, waiting for you to turn your back. So, let me take you back to when I was 29. I had just bought a house. It was a beautiful 2-story place in a quiet suburb, the kind with oak trees and nosy neighbors. I put the down payment down, every cent of my savings, but I put my fiancé's name on the deed. I know, you're screaming at your screen right now. But I trusted her. We had been together for 4 years, engaged for 2. I wanted her to feel secure. I wanted her to know that everything I built was for us. My fiancée, let's call her Jessica, was the kind of woman who lit up a room. She was vibrant, funny, and had this way of making you feel like the only person in the world. But looking back, I see the cracks I painted over. The way she'd casually mention how her friends' husbands bought them newer cars. The way she'd sigh when I had to work late to pay for the lifestyle she wanted. Then there was my half-brother, let's call him Tyler. Tyler was the golden child. He was 27 at the time, a DJ and music producer, which meant he had a SoundCloud account and a lot of expensive equipment my mother paid for. Tyler never had a real job. He had projects, he had visions, and whenever he crashed and burned, which was often, my mother was there with a checkbook and a lecture for me about how I needed to support his dreams because family helps family. It was a Tuesday in October. Nothing special about the day. I left the construction site early because a shipment of steel beams was delayed due to a logistics error. I decided to surprise Jessica. I stopped at her favorite Thai place and picked up pad see ew, extra spicy, just how she liked it. I drove home, feeling good. I was thinking about how happy she'd be that I was home before dark. I walked in the front door. The house was quiet. Too quiet. But then I heard it. A laugh. It wasn't a casual laugh. It was that low, throaty, intimate laugh she used to give me when we first started dating. It was coming from upstairs. My stomach dropped. You know that feeling when you miss a step on the stairs in the dark? That lurch? That was my entire body. I walked up the stairs, the plastic takeout bag crinkling in my hand. It sounded like a gunshot in the silence. The bedroom door was ajar. I pushed it open. Jessica was tangled in our high thread count Egyptian cotton sheets. She wasn't alone. A man was on top of her. They were frantic, desperate, like they were trying to merge into one person. I stood there, frozen. My brain was trying to process the visual data, but it wasn't computing. Then the man turned his head. It was Tyler. He didn't scramble. He didn't look terrified. He didn't try to hide her. He looked annoyed. He looked at me with this heavy-lidded, arrogant stare like I was the waiter interrupting a private conversation at a restaurant. Jessica sat up, putting the sheet over her chest. She didn't cry immediately. She didn't beg for forgiveness. She looked at me, her eyes clear, cold, and absolutely devoid of shame. "Get out," I said. My voice sounded strange, like it was coming from underwater. "We need to talk," she said, smoothing her hair back. "Talk," I snapped. I dropped the food. The container burst on the floor, noodle sauce seeping into the beige carpet. "See, this is it. This is why. You're always so transactional. I pay for this, I bought that. You think you can buy love with a mortgage." "I think I bought loyalty," I snapped, my hands shaking. Tyler laughed. He actually laughed. He sat on the edge of the bed, completely naked and unbothered. "She never wanted you, man. She was the safe bet, the wallet. She's always wanted me. We've been seeing each other since your engagement party." The air left the room. My engagement party. That was 2 years ago. "Is that true?" I asked her, looking for a shred of denial. She looked me dead in the eye. I never wanted to marry you. I've always wanted him. You're boring, you're stiff, and you're always working. Tyler makes me feel alive. You make me feel managed. The rage didn't hit me then. It was clarity. Cold, sharp clarity. It was like seeing the blueprint of a building and realizing the foundation was made of sand. Get out, I said again, louder this time. No, Tyler said, standing up and crossing his arms. We aren't going anywhere. Her name is on the deed, remember? She lives here, and I'm her guest. If you don't like it, you can leave. I looked at them. The entitlement was suffocating. Here was a guy who still borrowed money from our mother to pay his phone bill, and a woman who spent more on purses than she earned in a month telling me to leave my own house. I turned around, walked downstairs, grabbed my keys, and left. I didn't pack a bag. I just got in my truck and drove. I went to my office. I slept on the couch in the break room. The next morning, I called my mother. I needed sanity. I needed my family to be outraged on my behalf. I needed my mom to tell me that she would handle Tyler, that this was unacceptable. He did what? She asked when I told her. I explained it all. The affair, the duration, the demand that I leave. There was a long pause on the other end. Well, she said slowly, you have to understand, Tyler has been going through a really hard time with his music lately. He feels like a failure compared to you. He needs stability. You have so much. You're successful. Maybe you should let them stay there for a while, until they get on their feet. You can afford a hotel. I almost dropped the phone. Mom, he is sleeping with my fiancée in my bed. Love is complicated, she said, her voice taking on that dismissive tone she used when I complained as a kid. Please don't make this a legal thing. Just let him have this. You can buy another house. Don't tear the family apart over a girl. That was the moment the bridge collapsed. The support beam snapped. I realized I wasn't a son to her. I was a resource. I was the safety net they used so they could walk tightropes without consequence. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I said, "Okay, Mom, I understand." I hung up, and then I went to work. I hired a forensic accountant and a shark of a real estate attorney. I didn't file for eviction. That takes months in my state, and since her name was on the deed, it was messy. Instead, I looked at the financing. The mortgage was in my name only. The deed had both names. It's a common mistake people make. But there was a clause in our purchase agreement regarding the down payment. A gift letter wasn't used. I had structured the down payment as a loan to the partnership of us legally.
Documented, because I am paranoid and meticulous about money. I stopped paying the mortgage immediately. I stopped paying the utilities. I drained the joint accounts, which was mostly my money anyway, leaving exactly $5. I went to HR and requested a transfer. My company had a satellite office in Seattle. They had been begging for a senior structural lead for months. I took it. 3 days later, I went back to the house while I knew they were outspending my money. I hired movers to take only what had receipts for: my electronics, my clothes, my furniture. I left the bed. I left her clothes. I left a note on the counter. You wanted the house? It's yours. Good luck with the payments. I blocked their numbers. I blocked my mother. I blocked my father, who was too passive to ever intervene. I disappeared. Seattle was gray, rainy, and perfect. I threw myself into the work. I worked 80-hour weeks not to avoid the pain, but to build a fortress of success so high that their voices couldn't reach me. I knew the house back home would foreclose. I knew it would tank my credit score for a few years. I didn't care. I had the income to recover. They didn't. I went to therapy. I learned about narcissism, about family scapegoating, about the golden child dynamic. I unpacked the guilt my mother had installed in me like malware. 2 years in, I met Sarah. Sarah was a contract lawyer. She was sharp, funny, and fiercely independent. On our second date, we split the check, and she didn't look at me like I had insulted her ancestors. She looked at me like a partner. We built a life, a real one. We bought a condo, together.
with a painstakingly detailed co-ownership agreement because we are both unromantic pragmatists, which, ironically, made us perfect for each other. 5 years passed. I was 34. I was a senior partner at the firm. Sarah and I were 2 weeks away from our wedding. We were eloping to Italy, just us and 2 witnesses. No drama, no family. Then, my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize, but the area code was from back home. I usually ignore these, but I was expecting a call from a vendor. "This is me," I answered. "You need to come home." It was my mother. Her voice was frantic, breathless. "I am home," I said calmly. "I live in Seattle." "Your brother, he's in trouble, bad trouble. And Jessica, she's sick. They're losing everything. You need to come help. You're the only one who can fix this." "I'm not fixing anything," I said. "I have a meeting." "She has a son," my mother blurted out. "He's 4 years old. He has your eyes." I froze. The timeline. 4 years old. I left 5 years ago. If she was pregnant right when I left. "If you don't come," my mother said, her voice dropping to that manipulative whisper I knew so well, "she's going to go to the press. She's going to tell everyone you abandoned your child. She knows you're successful now. She found your LinkedIn. She knows about the wedding. She's going to ruin you." Blackmail. Pure and simple. "I'll be there tomorrow," I said. I hung up. I looked at Sarah. I told her everything. "We need a DNA test," she said, her lawyer brain engaging immediately. "And we need a cease and desist, and we need to destroy them." "Yes," I said, "we do." We flew back the next morning. Sarah spent the entire flight on her laptop digging. She used her resources to run background checks, credit reports, court records. By the time we landed, she had a folder thick with papers. We agreed to meet at a neutral location, a diner near the old neighborhood. When I walked in, I barely recognized them. Tyler looked 10 years older. His hairline was receding, his face puffy from what looked like cheap alcohol and bad food. He was wearing a stained hoodie that looked like he'd slept in it. Jessica looked hard. The beauty was still there, but it was brittle, like cracked porcelain. Her clothes were flashy but worn out. And there was a child, a boy. He was playing with a sticky tablet, ignoring the world. My mother was there, wringing her hands, looking at me with those pleading eyes that used to work on me. I sat down. Sarah sat next to me. "Who is this?" Jessica spat, looking at Sarah with disdain. "This is my legal counsel, and my fiancé." Jessica flinched. "You're getting married?" "Yes." "What do you want?" "We want what's ours," Tyler said. He slammed his hand on the table, trying to look tough. "You stole that house from us. You stopped paying and the bank took it. We had nowhere to go. We lived in a motel for 6 months because of you." "You lived in a house you didn't pay for," I said, keeping my voice low. "That was 6 months of free rent I gave you. You're welcome." "It ruined my credit," he shouted. "I can't get a loan. I can't get a car." "That sounds like a personal problem." "And the boy," Jessica interrupted. She pushed the child forward slightly. "Look at him. He's yours. I was pregnant when you left. You abandoned us." I looked at the kid. He had brown eyes. I have brown eyes. So does half the population. "If he's mine," I said, "why wait 5 years? Why not file for support immediately?" "I was proud," she said, lifting her chin. "I wanted to do it on my own, but things are hard. The business failed." "What business?" Sarah asked, opening her folder. "My DJ business. It was going to take off, but we had no capital." "So," I leaned back, crossing my arms. "Let me guess. You want money. You want a lump sum to go away, to not ruin my wedding. We want $200,000, back child support and emotional distress, and for the equity in the house you stole." "And if I don't pay?" "Then I tell your new little girlfriend here what kind of man you are, and I go to the courts. I'll garnish your wages. I'll make sure everyone in your industry knows you're a deadbeat dad who abandoned your pregnant fiancée." My mother reached across the table. "Just pay them, honey. You have so much money now. I saw your title on LinkedIn. It's not a big deal to you. Family helps family." I looked at my mother. "You knew." I suspected," stammered she. "You knew they were going to do this. You lured me here." "I just want peace," she cried. "I just want everyone to get along." I looked at Sarah. She nodded.
It was time. "Okay," I said. "I'll play." I reached into my briefcase. I anticipated this might come up. I pulled out a thin blue folder. First, I slide a paper across the table. This is a sworn affidavit from my urologist. I had a vasectomy 6 months before I even met you, Jessica. I never told you because I wasn't sure I wanted kids, and I wanted to see if you'd pressure me about it early on. By the time we got serious, I just forgot to mention it because we weren't trying. The color drained from Jessica's face. It was like watching a ghost appear. "Impossible," she whispered. "Medical records don't lie, but just to be sure, I pulled out a cotton swab kit from my pocket. I am willing to do a court-admissible DNA test right now. If he's mine, I'll give you $1 million. If he's not, I sue you for attempted extortion and defamation." She didn't move. She stared at the table. She knew. "That's what I thought," I said. "But that's not the best part." I pulled out a second document. This one was thicker. Sarah handed it to me. "See, when you mentioned the business failing, I got curious. I had my team run a background check on you both before I flew down. I found
something interesting regarding the equity you claim I stole." Tyler shifted in his seat. He looked ready to run. "It seems," I continued, "that 3 years ago, you took out a small business loan for $50,000 using the family home as collateral. My mother's home." My mother gasped. "What?" "Mom, didn't you wonder why you've been getting those weird letters from the bank?" I asked her. "He forged your signature. He put a lien on your house. He defaulted on the loan 6 months ago. The bank is initiating foreclosure proceedings on your house next week." "No," my mother whispered. She looked at the golden child. "You told me those were mistake letters. You said you handled it." "I was gonna fix it," Tyler yelled, standing up. "I just needed a big break. If he pointed a shaken finger at me, had just left us the house, I wouldn't have had to do it." "And there's more," I said. "Sarah?" Sarah leaned forward, her voice razor sharp. "We found records indicating that you, Jessica, applied for state benefits, SNAP, and housing assistance, claiming to be a single mother with no income, while simultaneously claiming Tyler lived with you on the lease for that apartment you just got evicted from to verify his income for a car loan. That is fraud, state and federal." They were silent. The diner was silent. Even the kids stopped tapping on the tablet. "Here is the situation," I said. "I have the recording of this conversation. I have the medical records. I have the proof of the forged loan documents which I pulled from the county clerk's public records, and I have the evidence of benefits fraud." "Please," Jessica started to cry. Real tears this time. Ugly tears. "Please, we're broke. We have nothing. They'll take the kid." "They probably will," I said, "and maybe he'll go to a home where he isn't used as a prop for extortion." I looked at my mother. "You have a choice. You can lose your house and go down with them, or you can sign this affidavit stating that you did not authorize that loan, that your signature was forged. If you sign it, the bank goes after him for fraud, and you keep your house. If you don't, you're homeless." My mother looked at her favorite son, the boy who could do no wrong, the boy she chose over me time and time again. He'll go to jail," she sobbed. "Yes," I said, "he will." "I can't," she wept. "I can't do that to him." "Then you've made your choice," I said. I stood up. "Wait!" Tyler grabbed my arm. "You can't do this. We're blood." I shook him off. I didn't punch him. I didn't scream. I just dusted off my sleeve where he touched me like he was dirt. "Blood is a biological accident. Family is who you choose, and I chose her," I pointed to Sarah, "and she chose me. You chose to betray me. You chose to steal. You chose to lie." I looked at Jessica. "And you said I was transactional. You were right. This is a transaction. You tried to sell me a lie. I'm declining the purchase." We walked out. I didn't file the lawsuit for extortion. I didn't have to. I did, however, hand over the files regarding the benefits fraud to the state investigator, an anonymous tip. My mother refused to press charges for the forgery. She lost her house. The bank foreclosed 3 months later. She moved into a small rental apartment in a rough part of town. She calls me sometimes, crying about how unfair life is. I don't answer. Tyler was arrested 2 months later, not for the loan fraud, Mom protected him on that, but for the benefits fraud and for passing bad checks. He's currently serving 18 months. Jessica? She tried to contact Sarah a week before our wedding, sending her a message saying I was abusive. Sarah replied with a PDF of the police report from Tyler's arrest and a draft of a defamation lawsuit. We never heard from her again. We got married in Tuscany. The wine was excellent, the air was clean. I realized something standing there, looking out over the vineyard with my wife. Revenge isn't about hurting people. It's about letting them hurt themselves and refusing to be the cushion that breaks their fall. I didn't ruin their lives. I just stepped out of the way and let gravity do its job. The sad part is, the kid wasn't Tyler's either. The paternity test during the state's custody hearing revealed that. The father was some random guy she met at a club while she was cheating on me and Tyler. My half-brother destroyed his relationship with me for a woman who was cheating on him too. Poetic justice is real, and sometimes it has a waiting period. If you enjoyed watching the trash take itself out, hit that subscribe button. It's free, unlike the child support my brother is currently dodging.